1942 from Hartlepool I moved to Crewe. Found myself a job to do, working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy bridges, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my live. I'm covering for Mark because Mark's gone on earning some money tonight. Doing a demo for Paynton. I think it's Paynton. Yeah, it's definitely Paynton. Paynton Woodturning Club. So if you're in the vicinity of Paynton, what are you doing here? You should be there. Anyway, I've got some grand support crew tonight. Bring them on screen and let you see them. We have Brian, the professional earworm.
Yeah. Professional something, I don't know whether it's earworm or not. But
We have Nathan Savory, who I don't know if you guys know him, but he'll be talking a bit about himself whilst I'm standing, so you'll get to know him then. And we have Mike.
Good evening and welcome everybody.
I'm turning a goblet tonight, so I invited Mike. And Mike, being a superstar, he's got one of these rider things that before he appears on your show, you've got to fulfill it. So
He is deluded, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen.
who, Peter, you?
I have here
Well,
my
both of us.
Mike Walt rider fulfillment stuff. Splints, masking tape, glue, and string. And also Lisa sat in the house with a catcher's mitt on, so we fulfilled the
Never
rider.
without your basket tape. Twit.
Now, being a bit daft, check these guys in the background a minute.
Did you just say being a bit daft?
Being a
Yeah.
bit daft,
Okay.
Understatement.
I had to
Yeah.
clear out of my tools when I was doing a demo recently. And I came across this, which I haven't used since I had my old lathe with the Patriot chuck. And I thought, oh, I haven't used that in a long time. I think it's about 7 years. So I'm going to use it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I don't have a Patriot chuck anymore. I've got an Axminster, which it doesn't fit particularly well, but
Oh, that's good news. I've got a Patriot chuck, Pete.
it might not break, or it might. We'll find out. And basically, it's on a cam, and you can put things off center with it. So we'll see how this goes. It could be a disaster. So that goes in there. It's got a screw thread on it, and I have this piece of ash, which I'm going to turn into a goblet with an offset stem, which is a daft idea, but you know, wooden goblets are daft anyway. So that black mark is my pith. I don't want the pith down the center of my stem, so I've gone off center. So there's going to be more shavings made than necessary because we're going to have to turn some of that away first to get it, find out where the round bit is. And then we'll go from there. And it literally just screws on. Get everything out flush. This tape is done by the Mike Walt book on tape. So that shows me my no cut line because that's where the end of that screw is. So that is waste from there back. Otherwise I'm going to be cutting into the screw. So that puts our piece of wood off center at the moment because I want to avoid that pith, which means I'm going to have to start turning fairly slowly. Going to be out of balance. And as per always, stand off one side.
Just kind of.
Bring the lathe at speed up nice and slow. Until things start to vibrate a bit, which is about there. So I'll start making this in balance whilst somebody tells me who's here.
I'll tell you who's in. So initially, the first person in the chat today was a good friend, Andy at Door 60. And then we have Dan from Two Great Finishes. We have Alan Spain, all the way from America. William Kenny's in. Ruth, Grandma Ruth Tube is in. Brian with a Y. Terry Bartlett. Roy the Boy. Jennifer of Jennifer's Crafting Creations. James Crawford's in. Paul Hutton, Woodturning. Kim is in. Good evening, Kim. Ian the Woodturn is in. Oliver. Barry Chitty is in. Douglas Mungham is in. Andrew from Wybie Woodshed has joined us. Todd from Glen Cove Woodworks is in. And we have got 41 people watching, but somebody has obviously not put their names in the chat. Oh, Doug Mother's just appeared, and so is Neil M. So good evening to all of you guys and girls. David J. Heathton. Good evening, David.
I was going to be good because Nathan was here tonight. I forgot to turn the lathe off for him with the tool rest. Sorry.
I do it all the time.
Did you forget again, Pete? So the chat are busily, happily saying hello to each other. But I did notice a comment earlier. Wayne the Woodturner says, being one of those flying Goblet brothers, I'm going to enjoy this, he says. And Terry Bartlett's asking, where is the badge tonight?
You're not a proper turner until you've had a flying goblet.
Oh,
it's just Mike has done it with more style than most of us.
And in public.
That's the style.
Yes.
So Terry Bartlett wants to know what the badge is tonight. The badge is at his own club this evening, doing a threading demo. That's where he is. That's Terry from DJ Turning.
He was going to be here, and then he remembered he had a previous commitment. As soon as I told him Mike was going to be on, he said, "Oh, I remembered I can't be here."
Roy's got a quick question for you. Is the wood wet?
This is fairly wet. Yeah, it's 6 or 8 months down.
Ah, it's wetish. It's wetish.
Actually, no, it's more than that.
Grandma
Probably a
Ruth's
year
on.
down.
Hi, Ruth. It does look fairly wet, doesn't it?
It is, aye. You can tell just the way the shavings are coming off it.
Not that I don't believe you, Pete, but, you know, I just don't normally believe you or anything you have to say.
It spent about 6 months conditioning in the back of my van after I picked it out and I had nowhere to put it. It's now the majority of it is either dibbers or snowmen. And the rest of it I get to play with.
Christmas.
Or a goblet, even.
Will this be a fire goblet?
I hope not.
We shall see. We had a fire bowl last week.
It will be a useless goblet, obviously, because
most of them are.
Ooh, that's a bit
why would you
harsh.
drink out of wood when you can drink out of glass?
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
It's a nice roughing gauge you have, Pete.
Yeah, this is the Crown Cryo 1 1.25 inch. It's nice. It cuts well. Okay, so
go ahead.
I need to square this end off, figure out my proportions. I don't normally do this, but normally I just do it out of my head, but it's going to be roughly about there. That's the base. So it's all there to flow into the stem, and that hits the stem. It's not going to be a thin stem because I'm going to go off centre, so if I made it thin, it would just fly off.
Indeed. So we've got Brian from Greenhaven Creations and Baz Starkey has just joined us.
Good evening and welcome.
Good
everyone.
evening, gentlemen.
Baz is one of the emerging turners that I'll be chatting about later. So it's great to see him on.
There we are. I've just
And,
looked up his channel.
Yeah, Baz has asked what we're making. So we're making a goblet this evening, Baz, with a wobble chuck for a bit of added fun.
So just looked at Baz's channel. He has no videos up as yet. That'll change, I'm sure.
There's a quick question from Dan from True Grit Finishes. Quick question. Do you have an accurate information relating to KW output of last week's bowl?
No. That was it was gathered in at last minute, and there was a split in it. And although it actually looked reasonable on camera, I could actually see daylight through the split when I turned the lathe on, which caused a couple of catches, which caused me to get really unhappy about it. So burning it was the only way out of that.
Rob from Klingsport then. Good evening, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Wayne Woodturner says, quick question, Pete. A screw chuck on end grain. You're brave.
Yep, screw chuck and end grain.
I'm glad you said that, Wayne, because I wasn't going to say anything.
A screw chuck and end grain, and as I said, it doesn't fit this chuck particularly well.
So all the safety precautions necessary have been taken.
I don't know if you can see that, but there is a slight gap between the chuck jaws and the base of the wobble chuck. It is back against the back of the jaws. However, it is metal. It is engineered metal. So it should be flat against the back. And I'm going to have the tailstock in place for most of the turn. Not all of it. I will be gentle on the hollowing out bit because, yeah, it's a bit daft. Oh, that's a bit too close. Got that one wrong. Let's try that view for a little while.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, it's probably going to Brian, this one. Because Brian has got the chuck it's made for.
Ooh. Presents. Love presents.
Before it does, I'll have a little play with it.
Is there an equivalent chuck for the accents then?
There is, and I have it. So if I was in the least bit intelligent, I'd be using that instead.
Yeah. Oh, don't overestimate yourself there, Pete.
Yeah. That comment did definitely beg the question. Well, if you've got the right chuck,
Why are you not using it?
Why not using it?
Oh, you need to entice viewers in with something, don't you? A little bit of danger.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of danger, haven't you?
Typical biker mentality.
Chris from Bailey's Woodwork has joined us just at an appropriate time.
Hi, Chris.
Oh dear. Pete, I don't know.
Right, my sound is not right. I'm going to just try and make my sound a bit louder because I can't hear you guys.
Oh, can you not?
I'll tell you what, that was an absolute cracker, that was. I've got the right chuck for this, but I'm not going to use it. I can't believe it.
Oh. Baz Starkey has just said, what bike? Question mark. Started the whole biker thing now. Yeah, what bike?
I've got the FJR 13 and the VN 2 litre.
I hope
2
somebody
litre
else
is going to be used mostly this year. I'm going to Spain on it.
I hope everybody else in the chat knows exactly what they are, because I have no clue.
Kawasaki 2 litre, 2 litre V-twin, which is rather silly for a motorcycle. But that's why I buy everything. I like silly things.
Oh, look, our good friend Andy the woodworker is in.
Hi, Randy. And Roy the boy's got a quick question as well. Another question, Roy. That's 2 out of the 3 you're allowed. Thought you would have done a mushroom, Pete, as you have your mushroom smock on.
Did a mushroom on Sunday, which I put out Monday night. A 2-part mushroom because I missed the 2-part challenge. So I combined 2 challenges into one.
Baz is obviously a biker. He says torque V-twin to pull the arms out the sockets.
Yeah. Yeah, I run the 2 litre without a screen or anything on it because I just enjoy the physical workout you get when you're riding along with your arms spread and the wind in your chest. It's quite
Douglas
capable of
Munger.
doing that 100 miles an hour all day long, without any hard work for it.
Douglas Mungham says he likes your smoke.
This was a friend of mine made herself a shirt, and she's a sewist.
So it's
So I've made some sewing stuff for her. So this was my payment for stuff I've made for her.
Oh, Wayne the Woodturner wants to know, Pete, can you tell us again where the blue extraction hose comes from?
Yeah, that's
Wicks.
For that.
No, go on.
off of eBay.
Oh, it comes from eBay.
It's rabbit play tube. I did a video on that Monday lunchtime, and there's a link in the bottom of that, in the comments of that video, to the exact eBay thing that I bought. And you'll be seeing it in
Nice.
use later.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, that is. Because you've got the same setup as I have, exactly, basically.
Yeah.
You went for the
Rob.
cheaper stand as well.
Well, the idea wasn't mine. It was Paul Finley over in Ireland.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's now doing Monday lunchtime lives, and I happened to be here waiting for him because normally it'd be Brian, but Brian was busy with the horses.
Yep.
So I stepped in, and he was saying, "Oh, this is what it was." So I went and looked it up, and I thought, "I've got to have a play with that and see if it works." And you'll see later if it's any good or not.
I was going to say, what's the advantage of it? Yeah.
Yeah, Robert
No.
Kingsford wants to know, is your motorbike anything like a rally chopper?
Yes, very similar.
I had a
just not
Honda
orange.
50.
It's
Well,
got
when
an
I was a
engine.
bi-
It's
when I
different
was a
shape.
biker and 16, I had a Honda 50. That's
Wow.
the total of my biking
Did
career.
you just
that
call
was.
yourself a biker on that
Well,
recommendation?
it's a
dear,
pedal
dear,
bike.
dear. Oh, dear.
Right, now there was a thing on Facebook this week about somebody who was struggling with forcing the bits, getting stuck and twisting the chuck and the taper.
Can you move the camera very slightly downwards, Pete?
Can't see the tailstock.
Right, if I change camera, I'll try shifting that one a bit.
That's it. That's okay for force.
That's the overhead view you got there.
Yes, Pete. I did realise that. I might be Welsh, but
There you
that's
go.
better.
That's down a bit.
That's better. Yeah, good
There
man.
you go, that's fine.
Good
Yeah.
man.
Right, and Record Power told him to hold the chuck.
What?
And it ripped the skin off his hand, and he was complaining about it on Facebook. And they're not wrong. You should always hold the chuck when you pull it back out of the piece.
Yeah, I'm not.
And you can hold it lightly and pull it backwards. Make sure it's seated nice and tight in the Morse taper. But don't hold it so it's going to... You're not trying to hold it against the lathe. You're just putting it backwards a bit.
Yeah.
But once you've got the pressure going on there, if you're consistent with the pressure, you shouldn't have a problem.
No,
You should,
I quite agree.
you should definitely not be trying to hold it and stop it from spinning.
The other thing is speed. I'm down at 635 here. And then clearance.
That's the only time you need to just hold it back a bit is when you're pulling it out, Pete, as you say.
When you're pulling it out, you must hold it when you're pulling it out, because otherwise that could come out of there.
Yeah.
And then you've got this thing flying through the air, and you don't want that. It's heavy.
No, it can make a terrible mess.
Do
Now,
you glove your palm?
I don't hold with the small holes and then bigger and bigger until such time as you get to that size you want, unless you have to. Sometimes you need to. But I would quite happily drill 50 mil, even 55, 60 mil straight in.
See, I do it the other way. I use my auger bit, which is a 3/4 inch for the depth, and then I go in with the Forstner bit. But that's each to his own, you know.
Yeah,
There's
each to his own, and it does.
Yeah.
It varies.
One thing I will say though, if ever you use, which I do quite a bit, is use an extension for your Forstner bit. Always make a hole at least the depth of the face of the Forstner bit, if you like, before you don't start drilling. In my opinion, anyway, don't start drilling with the extension bar
I get you.
straight away. So it gives the Forstner bit something to seat in, because otherwise you get flex. Because if you've got a 6 or 8 inch extension bar, it's never going to be as stable as the Forstner bit itself straight into the Jacobs chuck.
But I would say the same is true of twist drills as well. If you're using an extra long twist drill, then use a standard one to get your hole started.
Yes, yeah, agreed. Just to
And then
get
switch it over.
seated. Yeah.
Yeah, because they do wobble a bit. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
They'll follow the grain line if they can.
They can, yeah, they will, yeah. Wayne the Woodturner says, Mike and I had a conversation about this a while back. Sometimes it spins in the Morse taper. It will sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Sometimes it just does.
And sometimes
And there isn't a single answer that covers it. So you can't just say, "Oh, this is what you're doing wrong," because it might not be.
I had it once a
Might
few
be
years
something else on
ago.
that occasion.
With the extension bar, and I was about 3/4 of the way down. It must have been about, I don't know, 8 or 9 inches in, and I pulled it out a bit too quick, and it came out of the Morse taper, and it got stuck in the piece.
Yep.
And I tried everything. It was wet wood as well, and of course, when you're actually hollowing out, it's creating heat, so the piece of wood that's actually in contact with your Forstner bit is actually contracting all the time because it's drying out quicker than the rest of the wood, and it got stuck in there. I tried everything, and in the end I just had to take a saw to the piece to get the Forstner bit out.
Grandma Richard wants to know why you measured with the pencil.
Because I forgot to measure it before I started. No, because that's the technical and proper way of doing things. That's it. That was the answer.
That's the correct answer, yeah. Yes, Roy, it was me, yes. There's a whole lot of motorbike chat going on there, but I don't understand a word of it, so I'll just let you chat amongst
That's because the sun's out and people are getting the bikes out.
They're talking about doing wheelies and stuff.
So what I was thinking about today when I was deciding to do this project, switch to that cam. Now, up until fairly recently, I'd never put a Forstner bit in there. I might put a 8 or 10 mil drill bit in, but normally I would just drill it with a spindle gouge, and I'd back hollow it out with a spindle gouge.
Can you move
And I don't tend to do that anymore because this thing got invented. And this is a Simon Hope.
Can you pull the camera over to the left a little bit? Because you're just on the left edge of the screen now. That's it. That's better.
Good.
Yeah,
yeah. So this is the Simon Hope hollower. There's a range of Simon Hope hollowers. This is just one of them. This is on the square bar. And it's not necessarily more efficient. It's just more gentle at doing the job.
Yep.
And I sort of switch between the two methods now, but at the end of the day, this is a new technology which I'm adopting. All right, it's not new, but there again, I'm slow to change. Well, a bit more speed.
So Andy the woodworker has said, question for Mike, couldn't you have locked the spindle and used the drill on a Forstner bit? Well, you could have, but it's kind of pointless when you have it.
Couldn't I have, hang on a minute, couldn't I have locked the spindle? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
used a drill on the Forstner bit. That's kind of pointless.
No, the whole idea of using the tailstock and the lathe for doing it is it's going to be dead center. It's got to go in at 90 degrees. It's got to go in parallel.
Yep.
If you use your drill, it's very unlikely you're going to go in square.
Grandma YouTube says, I'm confused, as a pencil could be any length. Sorry, stupid question. There are no stupid questions, Rick.
No. But that's
No such
borderline,
thing.
Ruth, I have to be honest.
Yeah. It's sailing close to the wind, I might say.
With respect, yeah, with respect.
Still losing volume here. I don't know why.
Oh, I've got Brian the hardwood turnings problem.
What?
A cramp in my left leg.
Oh, you have not, have you? Oh, you poor soul.
On the back of my hamstring. Oh, God.
Oh, dear. I got good news from the physiotherapist today. He said my hamstring? It's not my hamstring at all. Shut up, Brian.
It's my hamstring, not yours.
Yeah, it's my Achilles tendon is the problem. He
Oh,
says
right.
Okay, Nathan is not being quiet. It's just he's not getting a chance to say anything at all. You
It's
can't see
hard
what
with
I'm
you
doing
guys.
anymore.
He said
You
he's
guys
going to
are
talk
such a good group. You just got chat for days.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
Mike just
fine.
goes on and
I mean,
on and on. You know, it's just Mike.
I'm
But,
going to mute myself.
It's the Welsh.
Don't you
It's
dare!
the
You've got to
Welsh
be
on
able
the
to
does it, you know. It's the Welsh.
What we're going to do is I'm going to put Nathan on screen while I'm doing this bit of Halloween because
Yeah.
it's gone beyond camera range now anyway, so you can't see anything. I'm going to put Nathan on screen. He's got something to tell you all. There you go.
hello.
There it is. There's the boy.
Hey. Thanks very much. What a privilege.
Hi, Nathan.
Hello. How are you doing? So, I've got the very privileged position of being on this live feed to tell you all about an extremely exciting fundraiser, and that you might be able to get involved, whether that's giving your hard-earned money or making a piece to be sold. So, some of you may or may not be aware, but the Register of Professional Turners has created a workshop which at the moment is annual, and it's called the Emerging Turners Program. And the idea is that it helps young and emerging turners, young being, you know, an age range that was bracketed as 18 to 35, but that seems very young for a lot of turners. And the idea is it's these up-and-coming turners with a professional ambition, just trying to give them a bit of help along the way. So that looked like last year a 3-day course down at the Max Carey Woodturning Trust. And there were 18 of us. I was one of them, which was really nice. And we had 8 tutors over the 3 days. And we had chats around how to use your computer to really serve you in your woodturning career, you know, doing websites and social media and stuff. Stuart Mortimer came and inspired us all to just have a go at making some incredible creations. You know, don't just get scared about doing twisted hollow forms and all sorts of stuff, but just get stuck in and play. We did some box turning techniques with Jason Breach, and Richard Spindley gave us some challenges along spindle turning. And so it was an incredible chance to have this close sort of tutorship over 3 days to really develop some skills and also ask those questions that we all had burning inside us. You know, how do we make this work as a business? How do we balance, you know, buying tools and wood with making money, etc. And this year it's on again, and it's in August, and we're trying to raise some money to make sure that the event goes ahead. So we've got a fundraiser, and Dan from True Grit Finishes is here, so he's going to pop a couple of links in the chat. And one of those is we've got a GoFundMe page. So at the moment, we're trying to raise £12,000. It's a considerable sum, but that will allow the event in August to go ahead and also help fund towards the next event. So we're really looking to generate a large amount of money to support support these young and emerging turners coming up through, not just this one time around, but also going forwards into the future. So we've got a GoFundMe page, and that is just donations. So if you just want to contribute to us lot and help us to receive some of this training and to help fund the course, then you can do that. And it could just be a donation, or you could do it where you introduce a friend to woodturning, give them a chance to have a go at a lathe for a day, and then ask them, well, did you have a good time today? Did you value that? Yeah, amazing. Well, how much can I pay you? Well, don't pay me, just give a donation to this fundraiser here, and it will really help these emerging turners to set forward. And the other one is we also have a whole load of these emerging turners have made a piece and donated it to be sold. And so there's a link to a New Monday shop. New Monday is a bit like the British version of Etsy. So we've got a couple of products on there from the emerging turners, but there's a whole host of registered professionals that are donating pieces as well, from Les Simmons, Emma Cook, Jay Herriot as well. So it's really exciting. So that, you know, this is a chance if you do like collecting some really amazing pieces of turning, then you've got the opportunity to go on there and buy that. And 100% of the proceeds goes to supporting this fundraiser. So that's my little plug. We would love it if you were also wanting to donate a piece. There's a few little sort of side notes. So if you're donating a piece, we'd love it if you made one, took 10 pictures of it and submitted it to an email address which we haven't quite nailed down yet. This is been in the works for the last 4 days, so we're really sort of going for it full speed ahead. So you give your pictures and you set your price, and we'll put it on that website and sell it and raise the money. When it sells, it'll be your responsibility to package it up and send it to whoever bought it. So there we go. I can hear Pete started back up again. So shall we catch and see what he's up to?
Just because you went off the main screen. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Okay, amazing.
Tell us the joke. He's back. You're okay.
There we go.
Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, encouraging new turners gives you somewhere to sell your old kit when you get too old to use it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a good cause, and it's turners supporting turners. So when I was asked if I'd let somebody come in and have a chat, then I thought, yep, this is a good thing. Let's do it.
Well, that in itself, Pete, has been a wonderful opportunity. So thank you for giving you a chance to have a voice.
Well, now you've been on here, women, you also lumbered yourself, because we'll be asking you to do that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm in.
Okay, so that's the inside hollowed. Let's go back overhead.
I think I might donate a piece.
Excellent, love it.
I tend to rough cut my outsides, just to give me a suggestion of where I'm going, because I'm getting old. My memory is rubbish, so I forget. So I don't normally cut this shape, actually. Normally I would go for, I like the tulip shape, like a brandy glass tulip. But a rough cut on the outside of whatever shape you're going to do gives you a guidance of when you're doing the inside. Then you can come back and cut the outside. So I'm going to do now. And that'll get me final thickness on that. And then we're going to sand that up and finish that off, because we won't be able to get back to this.
This must be one of your guys from last year as well. Jay Harriet.
Yes, so she's the chair lady of the RPT.
Hi, Jay.
So Jay was the one who spearheaded the event last year and set it up and sourced funding and pulled all the tutors together and planned it all. So yeah, big thanks to Jay for being willing to do that. It was a lot of hard work for her.
Oh, you're welcome, Jay, and thanks for doing that. Excellent. Good work.
Toolbrush completely wrong there.
Abrasives has said, do you have a date that it all needs to be sorted by? So that's a good question. The event is in August, and so we're trying to get as much money in by June, end of June, so that we can sort of confirm that the event is going ahead. So we've kind of got 12 weeks to push this out and get it going.
Change your skew.
Dan, if Dan's still there, Dan, if you would send me those links on Messenger, possibly, I'll stick them out in my channel as well on Thursday, and we'll give it a shout out as well.
Nice.
I'll be able to find them on Messenger. I'll never be able to go back through a YouTube thing and find them.
There's a lot of comments coming through, that's for sure.
There is, yep.
Well, yeah, now that you've put the basics out there, hopefully the rest of the chat will be full of questions for you.
Oh, that would be nice, but I don't want to detract from this amazing Wobble goblet.
Oh, Kerry's in. She says, "Go, Nathan. Sneaking in a watch from work." She says, "Back to work, woman. What are you doing, skiving here?"
So, Pete, we've got a question here. Is that warping whilst you're cutting, or is it an illusion of the camera?
It's it is moving a bit. As I said, I shouldn't really be on this particular rig, but we'll work with it.
Well, I would think it's the wood drying out, Pete, isn't it?
Could be a
No,
bit.
it's not.
Isn't it? You got problems then.
It's not too bad. It hasn't moved that much.
It's not moving
No.
much, but it's moving a bit.
No. Grandpa Jim, the wood turner, is in.
That didn't help.
That
was
little,
just
that
pure
little,
lack of
Oh
attention there.
dear. Oh dear.
is that a little skew catch?
It wasn't a skew catch. I just put the skew right into the end of it. I just
Oh,
wasn't
you
paying
did not.
attention.
Andrew from AGK, I get that wrong every day, has just joined us. Good evening, Andrew.
I
See,
did my
it's not-
usual trick then. I looked at the screen instead of the tool, and then the tool got in the way of the wood at the wrong time.
See, it's not only me that does these things.
Baz has said, doing the emerging turners has got me back in the workshop following a life-changing diagnosis, and everyone was absolutely epic on the training. I can't do enough for this cause. Oh, good man, Baz. And I hope you're
Okay, there's not much saving of that cup, so I'm going to pretend we finished that cup and just go on with the stem.
Can you not take it down a little bit further?
No, it's actually split from there to there.
All right, okay. Oops.
A little bit of wax.
I looked up at the screen with the skew held just off camera there,
Yeah.
sort of here. Looked up at the screen and put the skew right into the sidewall of it. So
Bit of masking tape and sorted out.
I'm
Steve
glad you
Gordon
mentioned that, Mike, because on my
I might just tape that up, he says.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Steve
would.
Gordon says you can always turn it into an off-centre scoop.
yeah,
There
I
you
could
go,
also
so-
turn it into some heating.
It's going in the fire. It's going to be the fire goblet.
This is why I shouldn't do YouTube. As soon as I put that screen on, whether I'm filming or whether I'm live,
No, but what it
everything
does,
goes
Pete,
to pot.
it shows everybody that you've been turning how long? 30 years?
Yep.
Not 30.
So,
I'm not that old.
You know, at the end of the
I'm not
day, it
quite as
happens
old
to,
as you, Mike.
it
40,
happens to
mate, 40.
everybody.
40.
This 15 or 16 years now, so yeah, quite a while.
Okay.
Rob says, Rob from Copper Woodturning has joined us, and he says, "Okay, a bit of colour will fix it."
Oh, blasphemy!
Absolute blasphemy.
That was also on Mike's rider. All the colours that I have in the workshop have had to be put outside in the garden until this is
yeah.
over.
It's gracious.
Banished.
Yes, Andy, I'm afraid it's another piece of firewood.
Yeah. Lack of attention. It's take your eye off something and it's going to go wrong.
Baz has
Especially
just
with a
put a
skew.
comment. Yeah, indeed, with the skew. Baz has just put another comment. He says, emerging turners or the young man's men shed are both great for mental health. Old men sheds are good for mental health too.
Yeah, I guess Baz being a
It's got
younger,
motorbikes.
that wouldn't have known that know what an old man's men's shed would be yet.
Yeah, well, I can speak for that because
That's
I'm
good.
not very young. I'm nearly as old as Mike. Yeah, not quite.
You're not very young as me though, Brian.
Yeah, that's true. Wayne wants to know, why does it only happen with goblets? I can assure you it doesn't. Oops.
Yeah, I had an interesting situation once with a tool that flew out of my hands and bounced off the wall behind me, and that was simply I was just about to present it into the wood, and then I sneezed,
Oh,
and the tool took that sort of few millimeter step forward just as I wasn't quite ready for it. The wood caught it, chucked it out of my hand, and off it went.
Not good.
Not good.
I know.
But you live to tell the tale.
I have, and I've learnt that if I feel a sneeze coming, I stop turning.
Step away from the lake.
Yeah, that's right.
Sounds like a plan.
Right, that's a bit of an unusual way of doing this. It's because I'm going to do a wobble on it. Normally I want to keep as much bulk back here as I can. And I will be doing this 45-ish degree cut down to work my way back. But because I want to put a wobble on it, I've taken the entire stem down to somewhere where I think the edge of the wobble is going to be.
Okay.
And we'll work from there. So it's not
So
normal
Andy,
method of cutting a goblet, but it's appropriate for this one.
Okay. Andy has said without his men shed, he would be lost. Well, I'm glad you found it and you're working on it. Good man, Andy. Wade said his first man shed was carved out of stone. It was right next door to the pyramids.
Is that just before or after they discovered fire, Wayne?
Baz has said that could be a nice feature bit. You can always gold leaf that crack. Look fine.
Yeah, is it a problem or is it a design opportunity?
Yep, never a problem. In my shed, it's always an opportunity.
I like design opportunities, but when you split the cup in half, that's kind of it as far as the goblet goes.
Kind of, yeah.
So,
You just
I
have
could
to
have
put
cut
it
the
on
cup
your
off and done a
shelf.
smaller one.
You just have to put it on your shelf and display the one side that is good.
Yeah, no, it'll be in the fire by the time he reaches the house. He has to walk past the fire pit.
Yeah, this is
Maybe
going in the fire. This is not surviving the day.
This may be another short.
I got a new tool.
Ooh.
You got a new tool?
Ashley Isles rolled edge 1/2 inch skew.
Oh, lovely.
Bought it at the
Nice.
Midland show. I'm loving it.
Lovely.
So when you got to put a radius on it then?
Oh, well, go away.
Never.
Mr. Wolf and the radio skew.
Yeah.
I watched
If it
your
works.
There's
if it
people
works
that
for
like
you.
radius skews, and then there's the people that are right.
Yeah,
Ooh,
in your opinion.
I watched your video on the radio skew and I thought, that's a good idea. I'll try that. Tried it for about 6 months and then Pete said, what have you done to your skew? So I've got changed behind him.
Well, as I say, each
Yeah, if it works
to
for
his
you,
own.
that's the,
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
I always put a fillet on at this point. It's not necessary. It's just my thing. I just like it. And I've gone oversized on this fillet because there's going to be like off-center fillets behind it. So
Okay.
I've gone oversized because I think it'll fit the final design if I ever get there.
And Wayne Woodturner said he agrees with you, Mike. Ready skews are the best.
Yeah, the thing is, Wayne, when you look at people like Steve Jones, who has, used a traditional skew all his working life and before, that's fine. But it's just when I started, I saw, oh God, who is it? Alan Lacer. And I thought, oh, I'll have a go at that. And it was very user friendly in comparison. And I just got used to it, that's all. So, but it's like everything else, it's personal choice, really. There's no real right or wrong, is there?
Rob from Clowns
Yes.
4 having to go. Good night, Rob. He's
Good
up
night,
there.
Yes,
Rob.
mate, there is
See
a
you.
right wrong.
Thanks for
and
coming.
Straight is
Bit of-
right.
It's like captive rings, isn't it?
Captive rings are illegal.
Illegal,
They're
yeah.
just
that's right.
silly. And
But they're good
slavery
fun.
is banned anyway.
But they're good fun.
Can't have captive things.
Andy
Good
Woodward
fun.
Leather has a good idea, though. You could actually cut a bit more out of that crack, burn it a little bit, and then use some of those
Don't talk colour.
metal colored paints, metal reactive paints, and make
Oh,
it look
yeah,
ancient, and it would become something nice.
An artifact.
Yeah, Mike Walters here. Please do not mention coloured paints of any sort.
Sorry, I forgot.
It's just rude.
Actually,
I'm
I'll
not
have
sorry
to say,
at all.
I must say this in public. I have nothing against colour at all. I just don't like it myself.
Like it.
I think people who have the artistic ability, like our very own Brian, for example, and Wayne, and Steve Kerville, and many, many others, it's brilliant.
I admire
it's a
people
bit
that
like
can use colour. I'm not very
it's-
good at it myself.
no, it's a bit like
Um,
segmenting. It's great, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, me neither.
Right, shut up,
Like
Mike.
some complicated segment.
You see here, I got a line in this wobble chuck and two Allen screws. So loosen the screws. Then you can twist it right, left or right. We're going to go left, and we're going to go about
4 mil.
4 mil ish. Now for the rest of this demo, I want all my earworms to be on alert. And if you think I'm about to turn the lathe on or off, tell me to turn the speed down first, because it's going to be important.
Turn the speed down
Yeah,
first.
Turn
That's
the
a good
speed
idea.
down before you
Right.
start the lathe.
yeah.
So
Hey, turn the speed down.
speed is down. Speed is down so far, it's off.
Yeah, Baz has got the
Back
right
out a bit.
attitude. Baz has got a really good attitude. He says, see everything as an opportunity. Opportunity attract you all good vibes. Totally agree.
And
Now
you can
we
see a
think.
wobble there.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, so that's a wobbleette.
It only needs
Let's
to
go
be
a little bit
little more.
further.
Oh, pushing the boat.
See, he's easily distracted, Brian.
Yes, did you see that?
Easily goaded. That's not a wobble.
I'm not going to go a
So,
lot further. I'm just gonna go a bit
Dan
further.
from True Grit Finishes, Pete, says if you made that crack a hole, then it could be the Holy Grail.
Oh, God.
said
Dan,
Dan wins
Dan.
the worst joke of the night. It's unusual. That's usually Mike's job.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
Yeah, that's looking a bit more silly, isn't it?
That's a decent
Go
one.
with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, turn the speed up, 3,000 RPM.
Watch it fly.
What do you
Like
think is the-
Normally, I would be using something like a tennis ball in the end of a goblet. Because this is going to be wobbling, I can't. So I have a cone. This is a much loved and neglected cone. It's been sat in my drawer for a long time. Fits in the end of the goblet. Bring the tailstock up to it. Not
Wayne,
much
say,
pressure.
Wayne says you've got to get the Dremel on it, apparently.
I'm rubbish with a Dremel. I run out of ideas so quickly when I turn the Dremel on. See, I'm a jobbing cutter. I don't have the artistic streak that Wayne and Brian and all these other good people have got. I'm just not very good at being artistic. So yeah, we've got a nice little wobble there. Most important when you've got a bit of a wobble is to double check that you're not going to hit your tool rest.
or the piece.
Especially not on a piece that you've already finished, because don't forget this is now polished to nth degree because it's finished. And we'll go with that. Have a bit more speed on it. Watch carefully when you turn your speed up, because if anything's going to go flying, now's the time.
So, Pete, for those of us who haven't used a wobble chuck before, does this part now feel like you're truing up a rough blank?
Yes, very much so. I mean, it's once you get into the cut, then obviously you're into the wood solid. But at the start of the cut, it is part air, part wood. Still going with my 45 degree-ish. Working my way down. I'm not going down to the very bottom of the cut at the moment because the 1/4 inch of straight spindle I did is looking very odd at this wobble. So let's get to where I want to be, then I'll work that bottom down to the right size. As you can see, we're quite a long step off. Just come in a bit on that. Yeah, we're quite a big step off there. Now that will require possibly a bit of hand sanding or a bit of Dremel work to get that to flow together nicely. But you've got to be careful that you don't go too thin at this point, because you might go through the other side of it. And we are about...
Just a little reminder, there's a GoFundMe link if you haven't been across and had a look at it. Copy and paste it now. Or open it. If you click the link, it'll open a new tab in your browser. You can go and have a look at it later. And it doesn't matter how big your donation is. Every pound counts.
Yeah, thanks for that, Brian.
Not a problem. Benjamin says, who is the young person who sounds like Noel Fielding? Oh.
That's a new one for me.
It's Nathan.
Right, so I've gone for little cove on that, little curve, just because when I go the other way in a minute, it'll look nicer. Now you should use a measure for this. The measure I use is my hand. And that tells me that's about a finger width. So I need that to be smaller, and I need it to be back down to finger point about here. There-ish.
I should be paying attention here, shouldn't I? Really?
Yeah,
Martin
you're gonna
Ford
get
is
your
in.
wobble
He
chuck.
said, Martin Ford's in. He said, sorry, Pete and everyone, arrived late. Which chuck jaws and wobble chuck are you using?
Okay, this is the Robert Sorby wobble chuck, which I still own a box for. I've had it for years and years and years. I used it a lot when I first got it, but that was on my old lathe when I had a Patriot chuck and a different lathe altogether. It was a Myford Maestro I used to use. So it's been in the back of the cupboard for about 7 years. And I just wanted to play with it. So got it out. Right, so measuring exactly what I've got here.
Douglas has just said that he's been to the GoFundMe page and he's done it. Good man,
Oh,
Douglas.
amazing. Nice
Thank you very much. Thank you, Douglas.
Well done, Douglas. It's a very, very worthwhile cause.
Right, so measuring exactly what you've got as an offset, just take it in the other direction and offset it the same.
There's just the one mark on there, Pete.
It's just the one mark
with
for the centre.
Yeah.
All you've got is centre. Other than that, it's just a cam. You can see the cam. You can't see the cam. I can see the cam. It's about probably a 1/4 of an inch cam overall.
Okay.
Which in terms of offset is on a spindle is quite extensive.
Buzz says he's working my way downtown. Sorry, man-child. That has to mean something to somebody.
Right, now you didn't anticipate me properly then. You didn't tell me to turn the speed down before I turned it off.
Can you turn the speed down, Pete?
Bit late.
Pete.
Oh, by the way, sorry, should have said, this has now been sanded and finished because you'll never get back to that again.
True.
All right, but because of that split, I'm not bothering.
What would your usual sanding grit be? What would you start and finish at?
Okay, I've actually I labelled my sanding grits up. So I've got my 120, 180, 240. From there, I will go to abrasive paste, true grit in this case. My true grit's out of focus. Dan, why is my true grit out of focus?
So it is. Thanks.
There you go.
There you go. It's Dan's fault.
But I also sometimes use this grit. So I start with 80 grit sometimes. I try not to, but okay, so speed down, power on, bring it up. Now I'm going to cut some of this away because it's in my way, but this is not the bit I'm working. This is the bit I'm working here. And all I'm doing is cutting a cove. Of course, some of the cove I'm cutting is not there.
Benjamin and Pete, I have a new idea that I invented for wobble chucks. You can use a piece of piping as a jam chuck held in the chuck at an angle. Did I mention that I came up with that all by myself?
Well done, Ben.
I don't think you did, Ben. I think you were watching a demo last night. Douglas is asking, oh,
To be honest, what this chuck is doing, if you were to draw a circle on either end of your spindle, put it between centres, and then just switch it to opposing points on that circle, you're going to get the same result. It's not doing anything magical, but it is doing it a bit easier, I feel.
Yeah, it's just a toy. It's brilliant.
And it has a little bit more flexibility in what you can achieve.
Susie, the Swiss woodturner is in. As is
Hi,
Adam.
Susie.
I love woodturning. Good evening, Adam and Susie.
Good evening, both, and welcome.
And Adam's in the process of moving house. He's been busy packing up his workshop. He was playing a large Jenga game today, getting wood out of the boxes.
That's got to be a hard thing to do, you know, pack up your workshop and know that you're not going to be able to make or use anything for a week whilst you move.
Yeah, but Adam's got form for this sort of stuff.
He has a bit.
Adam bought himself a Vic Mark during lockdown when nobody was allowed in to help him. The delivery guys were not allowed into the property to put it inside, and so he had to do it entirely on his own.
That's a feat of superhuman ability.
It does take a bit of work, that.
I should say so.
Adam says, yes, it is, and I buy too many things. Yeah. Well, I hope you're moving a little bit further away from Simon Hope, Adam. That might save you a pound or two.
I think he's moving closer to cut down on delivery charges.
Okay, so Dan has just put in, this has to be said. Dan has just put in the chat. Buzz, ask Nathan about the idea for a calendar fundraiser. Never you mind, I'll ask him.
Well,
Nathan?
yeah, I'd like to say that Dan has this incredible ability to make his risky ideas make it sound like it came from someone else.
That sounds like a cop-out.
Well, so Dan had this idea that he really wanted to put across, and when no one picked up on it, decided to make sure that it was everyone else's idea, and then accuse them if they weren't up for it. But Dan basically wants to be Mr. December in a scantily clad wood-turning calendar.
Not a naked wood-turning calendar. Surely not.
He said he'd only have to use like a small micro gouge as a bit of defence.
I was thinking more of a finial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to sand this because I forgot about this blue tube.
No, you didn't. Oh yeah, YouTube, you have to tell us where it comes from.
Sorry, other camera. Is Wayne still there?
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
It was Wayne that was asking about it earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was. He just said, look, Stephen.
So,
Stephen the Wood Dude just came in, is it? It is indeed. Stephen the Wood Dude is in.
hi, Stephen. There's another live
Hi,
accident
Steve.
screwed up.
He says, good evening, all. Sounds like there's a bus driver skiving off work.
No, official rest days, mate. Official rest days. Don't forget
So as you
about
can see, I've got a
part-time there.
opposable hose.
That is
I've got a
good.
opposable hose that cost me £7 instead of the 40 quid that accidents don't want.
It's pretty smart. It reminds me of my favourite straw growing up as a kid.
It's just a
Yeah, the
shame
bendy
about the
bit,
colour, isn't it, really?
You can actually get them in grey.
Oh,
They
that's
do them
all
in
right
grey,
Was you
they do them
boring
in
folk?
pink.
then. I'll have a pink one.
I bought a
Oh, it's
blue
yellow,
one
I think,
because
isn't
I
Why
bought
did you
it
buy-
to
yeah.
advertise the fact that it exists, really, because I would quite like the stay put hose, but I'm not going to spend 40 quid to find out if I wanted to use it or not.
Yep.
So for £7.10, I'm quite happy to experiment. But I wanted that rather than the grey one, so that people don't confuse it with the stay put.
Because I have
I
to
will
say,
look for. I'll look for the link for you, Ian.
yeah, I think it's a good idea because I've got this big hood which I've had for a few years now, and it's very effective, but it does get in the way sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas that can be really just pointed
But it's
easily.
quite good. And then when you don't want it, just shove it out of the way.
Really smart. We've had a question.
Yeah, I think it was a
Pete.
good idea. As I said, it wasn't my idea. It was Paul Finley, and I just thought I like that. Let's share that a bit wider.
There you go.
Pete, someone said, "Can you get thinner tubes?" From which I guess they mean like a smaller diameter.
2 inch or something. I don't. Well, I haven't seen any, to be honest.
I've not seen anything like that. This is a 4-inch, and my system here, it starts at 6, it drops to 5, and it drops to 4 when it gets out to the machines.
That's a very.
Going any smaller than that would be just silly. So,
Sure.
So
I'm not
does
going
it fit over the 4-inch or inside?
No,
Yes,
I
it's
had
huge,
to
mate.
split it. I had to split it and duct tape it. Oh, sorry, Mike. Tell you what, Mike, if you get one,
Yeah.
put a split in it, put it over the thing. I'll get one of the lads to pop round and duct tape it for you.
He's not allowed to use duct tape. Oh no.
No.
Okay, so
Can't even use masking tape.
is Lewis in?
No. Well, I haven't seen him.
Okay. No point in saying this joke then. You might watch it later. So I've decided that I should be using maple syrup, Canadian maple syrup, as standing sealer from now on. Especially when I'm doing you, of course. This joke won't last long because it's a glass bottle and I'm going to drop it at some point. But it just made me laugh when I saw the empty bottle from Canada. Bit of sanding sealer. I use the Libron one, which I dilute 50-50 with cellulose cellulose thinners to make the sanding sealer the thickness I want it. Just slap that on there. Waffle a bit while it dries a bit.
What's the link, guys, to the tubes?
Maybe
Oh,
the
well done, Brad.
overhead, Pete.
I've just tested it, so it works.
It's better.
Then I'll get me abrasive paste.
Oh.
This one takes it from 320, because that's why you stand to 240, because the next grit up is going to be 320. So somewhere around the 320 mark. It's not 320, it's going to be somewhere around there. And as the paste breaks down, it gets finer and finer, down to about 1,000.
Baz is volunteering for the calendar. He's in. He says.
Which month does he want?
Oh, it's have to be January for Baz. Good and cold.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
And just like all abrasive paste, you've got to give it time to work properly. On
You're welcome.
YouTube Live, we tend to rush stuff. You should be giving it a couple of minutes. If you were sanding through the grits, so you've done your 320, you've done your 400, you've done your 600, 800,000, then, you know, it's going to take 2 or 3 minutes. But
Especially if you meth in between to take off any residual dust.
yeah,
So the Woodwork Learner says the blue ones are ready out of stock, but if you have a look on eBay yourself, there are lots of different people supplying the same product.
there is lots of them.
That just happens to be the one that we found.
I just wanted to buy one. Once I decided I wanted to try it, I just went on and found one, and I put the link on my video because that was the one I found. But there's plenty on there.
And it's what's it called? Rabbit tunnels.
Yeah, rabbit play tube.
Rubber play tube, or if you just type in, if you go looking for yourself, you just put rabbit tunnel into eBay, it will come up.
So if you go to the link that Brian put in earlier,
Yep.
then at the bottom of the screen, even if they're out of stock of the blue ones, at the bottom of the screen, there'll be lots of other choices of people selling the same thing.
There
And
indeed
then the
are.
person who's asking about changing size, have a look at the bottom of that screen. They might tell you that there's a different size one. Might be
It
a
says
wrap one or something. That's a different
collapsible play
size.
tunnel exercise shoes for rabbits, ferrets, guinea pigs, hamsters. That's what it is. Collapsible play tunnels. It stretches out. It comes in a tiny little bit. It's about, I don't know, 6 inches long, and then it stretches out to a metre.
They've missed out some key buzzwords there, haven't they? So dust extraction, wood turner.
Yeah, they definitely must aim.
Well, I did give the feedback on my eBay purchase with my YouTube video. So they might pick up on the idea that there's other uses for it.
That's good.
Yeah, blue, green, pink, and grey. The grey looks very much like the Axminster colour, to be honest. Oh, shouldn't have said that.
It does look very much like the safe, but I deliberately didn't choose it.
The wood dude has just said, for this new wood turning calendar, what months are Brian, Mike, and Pete going to be on? Yeah, right. It's for younger wood turners, not us old guys. Jeez.
Yeah, people will keep ironing our page because they think it's crooked and crinkled up.
I'm up for it.
You would be.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, Mike.
Benjamin says, I think they would collapse on a canvac, only if you put your hand over the end of it.
Right, bit of wax on there just because I can. So I was disheartened when I did my usual and lost attention to what I'm cutting and looked at the damn screen. I might be better at doing YouTube if somebody snuck in and filmed me without telling me I was on. I didn't have a screen in the workshop.
Who knows what you'd get up to then, Pete?
That's true.
Martin Ford says, Wayne, will you be doing the calendar? Go on, man.
Okay, so
Lewis is
now,
in. Lewis
if
is
you're
in,
doing
he
an
says,
offset goblet, never offset the base. Because although you'd be daft to drink out of a wooden goblet, if you offset the base, it's going to spill.
you're liable to knock it over, eh?
That's
Lewis
where
is
that
in.
line comes in
Now-
handy because I can reset.
And Pete, Lewis is in now.
Ah, Lewis.
Hi, Lewis.
So I use Canadian maple syrup as sealer because what else are you going to do with it?
Wayne says, for the new calendar, I'm using the short, thin parting tool. I have a detailed spindle gauge that might work.
Hmm. Or one of those
And it's not-
one of those
and-
micro tools that
yeah,
Jason was using last night. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in a holder yet either. It's not in a handle. If you're sure.
Go onto that camera. So I'm just
Dan says,
resetting so that my central slot is back online again.
Dan says he's going to use a light pool drive.
It's quite interesting because Dan definitely seems up for it, whereas everyone else seems to be volunteering other people. So
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh, Dan's
you,
definitely.
you do know that Dan is a complete nutter, don't you?
I do.
He's only a little bit bonkers. No, he's not.
No, he's a lot.
He's a
bonkers.
whole lot bonkers.
Reset my wedge because now I'm back on center again.
Adam says
Um,
a rubber chucky for me. Covers
Have you
both
checked the
shapes and
speed of your
sizes.
lathe?
Turn the speed now.
Speed down.
Lewis wants to know, what's this maple syrup blasphemy? Blasphemy?
Right, get to a decent speed to turn at now because I'm back on Skunter.
Jay says that she hopes Dan does the 13th month. Does that mean the front cover, Jay? Or the back cover? Take a pick. Benjamin says someone could paint
It is
themselves.
important that you accurately measure your base width to be the right size.
Very rude, Jay.
My tendency is to just tip my head over a bit and look down the length of the bed until it looks about right.
And guess, you mean, is that what you're saying? That's what I do.
And yes, I guess.
I never measure anything, I just guess it. If it looks right, it is right. Dan says, can I put Jay on a timeout? No, you can't, Dan. Jay's doing a good job there. Lewis says, had I known this was going to be an off-centre project, I wouldn't have had any wine. Is this affecting you a little bit, Lewis? It's a bit like sitting on Mike Walt's bus.
Not as exciting.
Yeah, not nearly.
That's right, Lewis. I've already jammed a skew into the end of the cup and split it when I was looking at the cameras instead of the work. Hey ho.
Marie Klein is in. Hi, Marie. And the question is, why did you not finish the segment just under the cup? Because the cup is about to become a fire goblet. Just hold a couple of blinks. Good man, Lewis. Look away, Lewis. Look away.
This very bottom bit of the stem, like the very top bit, is on centre.
So Lewis has just said, Lord Walt, an honour as always, sir. Oh, God. What are you looking
Lewis.
for, Lewis?
Appreciate it, mate. I'll send the check
Lord
in the post.
Walt.
But you can pay the postage because it's horrendous to Canada.
Well, this is true. It's never as nice to me as that.
I wonder why.
I was just sitting here thinking that very thing. I wonder why that is.
I could tell you, but I can't because we're on air.
Okay.
Okay, so that is going to be my base. This block of wood is just in my way now, so I'm just going to get rid of some of it. And so there's a screw in there. Don't forget there's a screw in there.
Yeah. Nice shape to the base as well, by the way, I must say, Pete, unlike Brian's. A nice concave, nice. No, Brian, don't try and get out of it, mate.
I was just going to tell you what wood did, Tim. Oh, look at that for our base now. Look at that nice concave.
Oh yeah, got double whammy there. Look.
Ah, look at that. better than a convex thing
Well, Pete's just showing off his cove cutting ability here, like you see.
there it is, yep. Big Mother says, yesterday I sent a package to Canada from Kentucky. It was weighed less than £1 and he was charged $18. Yeah, right, robbery.
It doesn't surprise
Mind you, I tried to order a flammable cabinet, not a cabinet, but not a cabinet that's flammable, but for storing flammable stuff in, from England today. The cabinet cost £198 or £189, one or the other, and they wanted to charge me £150 carriage.
me. Oh, crumbs.
You can guess what I told them to do with their cabinet.
So you didn't. You're not going to have a cabinet then?
And not that one anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's quite a steep courier price, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the new returner, if any of you ever watch this, I've still got 1.25 inch, got plenty of meat in the middle. That ain't going nowhere. I take it down to that point so I can sand underneath. But still leave plenty holding it until you're ready to part off. So I can actually get in there now and sand that.
Toilet Glenn Covey just put a classic comment in the chat. He says, the audience is happy that Mike is here. And so are his bus passengers.
Well done, that's a nice one.
Oh dear.
I'm impressed with you today, Todd.
It's really
It's
nice
always a
to
pleasure to have Mike on.
It's nice to be
Whether
hated.
he's turning or talking, well, he's always talking. But
When
very
did you do
quiet.
turning? Turning? What's that turning?
Turning.
Talking is his thing, not turning. I think the
Well-
turning's just a byproduct of the talking.
All being well, a week next Sunday, I'll prove you wrong, Brian.
Oh, what are you going to do? You never go do a live, are you?
Yeah, well, so I'm planning to do a
Yeah,
week Sunday, a week
get
on
outta
Sunday.
here.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
then.
not believing that. I'll
No,
believe
I
it when I
don't
see
believe.
it.
I don't believe it either.
And don't forget thumbs up, guys. There's 49 people watching. There's only 28 thumbs up. Come on. We can do better than that.
So,
Mary
Mike,
Bartlett
we
says,
had a lot of motorbike chat earlier. It sounds like Benjamin's wanting to start up a bit of bus talk. What bus do you drive?
I couldn't tell you, mate. It's got 4 wheels and a steering wheel, and that's it.
Single
I'm not
deck,
in-
double deck, open top?
All of them, coaches, double decks, single decks, but I really am not into it. Some of the lads
so,
are.
yeah, the
but
standard
not me.
tube is finished
Anyway,
with.
yeah. That's a really good
Look at
idea, that, Pete.
Out of the way it goes.
I can get a green one for $6.99. I could
Well,
always
again.
spray it. I could always
Well, I'm
spray
not
it.
going to finish this Sunday because, at the end of the day, the cup's split already, so what's the point?
Dan from True Grit Finishes says, Mike, can we sign up an emerging turner earworm for your life?
Yes, indeed. Of course you can.
It's okay, I'll look after him. Or her.
Well,
What date was it that Terry was going to be away, Brian?
23rd.
Mike, can you do the 23rd?
no, I back at work then, mate.
Oh,
Does that mean you're doing it, Peter, or am I?
I'm doing it. Ruth asked, so when Ruth asks, I'll do it. It's only when Terry asked, I think he's skiving.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, so Tailstock's out of the way.
Lewis wants to know who the new earworm is. Introduce yourself there.
I am Nathan Savory, and I've been given the delightful position of being on here this evening to plug the Emerging Turners programme, which is an initiative being set up by the Register of Professional Turners to support up-and-coming emerging turners with professional ambition. So, if you watch the playback, I get a little section to tell you all about it, and we're doing a fundraiser for this year's event, which is in August. And so you can donate a piece to be sold, with all the proceeds going to making sure that the workshop goes ahead, or you can donate some monies to our GoFundMe page, which we've had a
It's
couple
right
of links
there.
popped in the chat.
It's
And
right there now.
Brian's just dropped it in again. So anyone else wanting to support us, that would be most wonderful. So thanks for asking.
Let me have a look, see if anybody nipped across. And done it. Nobody else so far. Ooh. Don't forget, guys, even a couple of quid is fine. Stick it in there if you can afford to put a fiver even. Just stick it in there. It will all go towards the helping these guys get a better education and a better start than I suppose most of us ever had.
Yeah, it was an amazing event last year, and I'm really looking forward to this year. And we had some incredible people, incredible makers teaching us little tips of the trade with spindle turning or box turning. And I believe one of the skills that they're going to put on for us as a workshop and as a class this year is actually how to sharpen your tools effectively, because it became apparent that we all had slightly different styles and we could all have room for improvement.
Oh.
So it's just,
I don't think
just
there's a
simple things
turner
like
in
that.
existence that doesn't have room for improvement on sharpening. I've
Douglas
got a
is
corner knocked off of my roughing gauge at the moment because I sneezed whilst I was doing it. Right, so that
see
is
that
about
now.
halfway.
Oh, wow.
So it goes quite a long way.
I see how it works now, yeah.
Also, you can take the screw out of this. Let's get it off the chuck a minute and show that bit.
Just while you're taking it off, Douglas Mongan says, Brian, I looked at a used tailstock in the US as mine was playing up. The tailstock was £140. The shipping was 162. All the way from America.
So that screw can be taken out. And you've got three screw holes there, so you can use it as a mini faceplate.
Oh, that's
You've got
a good
options.
idea.
If you don't want to use that big screw, then there's options.
That's smart.
And that is the Robert Sorby Wobble Chuck.
Just had a sudden thought or an artistic piece with that. Oh, I need to write that down.
I want that one. I want that one. It's a goblet with masking tape.
In honor of Mike Walt.
When I turn these, especially off-center ones, I size them so that that's on the bottom of the cup, that's in that off-center going that way, and that slots into, little finger slots into the base. So it's actually sort of made to fit the fingers. That's made to fit my fingers. Everybody else struggles with them for some reason. But
oh, excuse me.
That was a project. It was a bit of fun.
Yep.
Shame my vanity caused me to look at the camera at the wrong time.
Lewis says his dog is. Lewis's dog is watching very intently for some reason. Maybe he thinks you're going to throw that goblet for it.
Lewis, what's your dog's name? Fetch.
There it goes.
Gone. Thank you everybody for coming in. Big thank you to Nathan for coming in. It's his first time on a live, and he's done a grand job there, explaining his cause, and it's a good cause it is, because at the end of the day, we've got to bring the youth on. We need somebody to sell our lathes to in due course.
We do. And all our tools, when we all pop our clogs, our wives are going to have somebody to sell it to.
That's it. So it's a good cause.
And I look forward to purchasing all sorts of goodies, especially if you've got a VB36. That's on my dream list at some
Oh,
point.
is it?
It's on mine as well. I don't have the space for it.
I know somebody's got two.
Don't know if Glenn's in tonight, but if he is, he's
No,
got
he's
two
not.
of them.
He's got two. So one last time, there's the link for the GoFundMe page, guys. If you feel the need and you want to support the cause at all, just pop over there, just click the link, pop over there, and donate whatever you can.
And a great
We much
demo,
appreciate it.
Pete. Great demo, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks
really
ever
good
so
to
much,
watch.
Mike, for coming in. I know you're busy with work and early starts. It's a pleasure to have you on. And when's your
Well,
next
you're
Sunday
pushing
going to be?
Yeah, you're pushing the boat out now.
He was easily pleased, didn't he, Brian?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
And not this Sunday, not Sunday coming, but the following Sunday. Is that right, Mike?
What?
Your
Your
next
next
Sunday
one.
live.
Yeah, if all goes well, all goes to plan. Yeah, a week
Okay.
Sunday.
Good.
Thank you.
Looking forward to that. Excellent.
And Ryan's on Thursday.
Yes, I'll be on
Um,
Thursday. So I'll need the links, Dan, at
Yeah, Dan, if you can get the
Yeah.
links to Brian by Thursday or get in on his live, whichever.
excellent.
And thanks all for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. It's been great
You're welcome,
fun.
Nathan. It's been good fun having you along.
It's
Yeah,
been a
nice
pleasure
to
have
meet
you
you
on.
as well, Nathan.
Thanks very much.
Stay on a minute for a bit of chat.
Stay
Yeah,
on a
don't
minute.
you go yet.
Yeah.
We'll say
run away.
goodbye to the public and then we'll have a quick chat.
All right.
So thanks everybody for coming to watch. Covering for Mark. Messed up another YouTube. Hey, I just do that.
You just make us
Let's
all
get-
look, all the rest of us look good, Pete.
This is getting to be a habit.
Yeah. Never mind.
Never
Take care,
mind.
everyone. See you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Cheers all.